Okay, well, welcome everybody in the room. Good to see everybody. Go ahead, Fennell. I don't hear.
Everybody.
I think Fennell's having little technical problems. I don't know what's happening on the Echo side, but Fennell, you sound great to me. It must be just throwing you the heck off. You're all here. We just love, she's going to come back. Good to see you. I have something really exciting to talk about tonight. And as Fennell finds her way back in the room, but, we are heating up things in Virginia for the Yes campaign. And I know we seem to be talking about that a lot, but I'm going to say, really, we have created something quite amazing this week. We have a whole week set up that we are going to fight back in Virginia. We have organized these amazing dialing it up, heating it up for the Yes campaign with phone banks. So we've been on the phone freaking all week. We've called Robert Hubble. He's coming Monday night. We actually called Anderson Clayton, the chair of North Carolina. In fact, I'm in North Carolina right now. So hey to Anderson if she's out there. She is coming Tuesday. She's going to kick off a phone bank. We're going to have like a rally before each one because all these states realize how important Virginia is. Like amazingly, Texas is going to help. We're going to have North Carolina is going to help. And we have reached out to all these leaders. Jess Craven just called today and she's going to help us with the phone bank. And that's going to be like next Monday. We have Simon Rosenberg on Thursday, Rachel Bittekoffer on Wednesday. So it is just amazing what we have been able to put together because truly we know that right now it just feels like with everything going on, people are not maybe really paying attention to this very important initiative. Like if we need to pass the Yes campaign initiative. Who out there has been working on that and phone banking? Hello, girl.
Hello?
Hello.
We're all good.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus, come out of the cave. He's come out of the cave. Anyways, I was like, it was so funny watching your face when you couldn't connect. It was like, so everybody out there, Fennell is back. Her audio is good, but I'm going to tell you a little funny story. My dad, who's passed away now, but almost, a year and a half, 2 years now. One time we had the echo on the phone. You know how you had the echo on the phone? It was talking back to you. Okay. So my dad calls my sister and said, Kathy's husband's gone crazy. He's calling me saying all this stuff to me. And my sister's like, what are you talking about? Kathy's husband's not gone crazy. He said he calls up and he just kind of mimics me and he just kind of mimics everything I say. And then my dad called me and I had to straighten it out. I go, Dad, what's happening? He goes, well, I was talking on the phone. I picked it up and the guy said, hello. And the guy said back to me, hello. And then he said, hey, what are you doing? And then he said, what are you doing? And then he said, well, I'm doing this. So my dad thought somebody was messing with him. My dad talked for like an hour to the echo. Well, are you messing with me? And then the guy would say back to my dad, are you messing with me? It was the story of the century in my family. My dad thought somebody was calling him and joking, and he was talking to the echo and arguing with the echo. What are you saying? No, what are you saying?
See, I wish I could have met your dad because he sounds like he was really, really funny.
He is funny. And I'm going to say though, when you were talking to yourself, you said you were arguing with yourself every time you talk. So anyway, it was a good story. So glad to have you back. So I was telling everybody about the great lineup we have for the phone banks because I was like, what the hell? I lost you. But they're really one thing we wanted to talk about because we really heating it up and we got to get the vibe going for this campaign. We got to get the vibe on.
Yeah. So this is what I would say. What I've been really excited about is the fact that when you find people who are voting yes,
Yeah.
they are adamant about it. And listen, I don't know how folks on this call tonight feel about funny stories, but since you told one, I'm going to tell one too.
Okay.
So you know how I feel about Deborah Wharton, and I think she's like the
Delegate
best thing.
Wharton.
No. This is Deborah Wharton, who volunteers in Accomack County and works tirelessly year round. So she's been working year round before year round was popular. And so I was at the store and I had my little nuggets as I do. And Sam had gone in, and I was, in the car, and I grab people when they come out. And I saw her, and I was so excited. And she's taking care of her mom, who's older. And she said,
Right.
"This is my friend Fanel." But her mom thought she said, "Fanel." And she says, "A friend for now? If you have a friend for now, you don't need a friend for now. You need a friend who's always gonna be your friend, not a friend for now." And so it was so funny. And she goes, "No, no, no, for now, not for now."
Yeah.
But here's the best part. She was talking about the Yes campaign and how confusing it is for people. And
Yeah.
she was talking about all the commercials, and she's like 90 years old. And so she's having this conversation about how hard it is for people to understand, should they be voting yes or no? And she's a yes. So I gave her one of my nuggets, and she said, "This is good. This is good." So if Deborah Wharton thinks that my nuggets for vote yes are good and are really clarifying for people, then I'm going to say we just keep on talking and we just keep on clarifying with every single
Yeah.
person about voting yes and why it's so important, which is why the phone banks are so important, just to serve as a reminder for people
Right.
about all these signs that you're seeing and why it's so important to vote yes. Because I'm not sure that the people who are voting no really understand why they're voting no.
No, they don't know. And I'm going to say to people, when you see a nugget, it's about this big, and Fennell makes these little cards, and they have little messages on them, and they're her nuggets. There they are. Oh, there's the nugget. And they're great because they're great conversation starts. Another little tactic we use to really kind of communicate with people. But I get it. It almost is like, I don't know. I see Lauren Burke out there. Great to see Lauren. I think it's kind of funny to say, to make almost a funny commercial about it at this point, because it is sort of like, vote yes, vote no. It's like and they're everybody's using the same words, and it's kind of confusing. And I know we've been talking about it a lot, and I don't think we talk about it enough in a lot of ways, because what we're seeing is that it's really the most important election right now. And I feel like people don't understand that, right? I feel like the whole regular folks out there aren't really don't really understand it. And now we have an opportunity to really ramp it up. So we have created this momentum with these phone banks, because it's democracy defenders every night. Reed Gallen, Rachel Bidicopper, Simon Rosenberg, Robert Hubble, Jess Craven, Randerson Clayton, and we are just going to ramp it up and heat it up on the dialer, like the party line. Everybody gets get on the line, right?
Yeah, this is the way that I think about it, and I was having a conversation, and we were talking about it. It's like when people think about this for Virginia, it's not Virginia, and we keep forgetting that there are 435 seats, and what we're trying to do is to ensure that everybody gets an opportunity to vote for those 435 seats. It's not fair in this moment for someone to come out and say, "We're gonna add more seats," and people are supposed to just sit silent. And I think when I think about Democrats, or anybody who cares about democracy across the country, this is not a hard message to get, but it's also the understanding that we need support from everybody, no matter where you are.
Right,
No one can do everything, but everybody can do something. And this is what this phone opportunity is. It's an opportunity for everyone to
right,
do something. And making those phone calls, which are the easiest phone calls to make. And I was saying to when I was making the phone calls on Friday or Thursday, whatever day it was, and everybody knows I love to be in the parking lots. I love to knock doors. I hate
right.
phone banking. But what I said on the phone bank was, this was my line. When I got the person, I said, "You know those vote yes signs that you're seeing all over the place?" That's how I started the call. Once I got in and I said, "Hi, is this Julie? Hi, Julie. This is Fennell. You know those vote yes signs that you're seeing all through the neighborhoods and
Right.
everywhere?" And the person goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Well, I'm just calling to tell you why the yes is so important." And that's how I started my conversation. And so after I decided that that's how I was going to flow, that's how
Then
I flowed through all the calls.
I think it's the best thing to do when you're on the phone bank. I do the same thing. If everybody in this room, if you don't know about the Yes campaign, it is the Virginia initiative to the ballot referendum, so we can redistrict before the midterms to fight back against the rigging that's happening everywhere. And I get it. I just have to laugh that you'll be on the phone bank. You're like, "This is Fennell." And they're like, "Not now." Not but I get on there and say it too. I told the person that did the script for the phone banks, I like, "Look, when I get on there, I say my own thing. I get on the phone, I'm like, 'Hey,' I could go, 'Trump's trying to steal the election. are you in? Do you want to vote yes? I mean, I just get right to it too, not this like, hi, I'm Catherine from the Virginia redistricting referendum constitutional amendment. It's like, boom. I'm like, hey, we got to stop Trump. You in? They're like, yes, great. Then let's vote
Yeah,
yes.
but Catherine, one thing I want to be sure that gets captured on this call today when we're talking about vote yes, why we're voting yes,
Right.
and the folks who are sticking to it. And there was someone in my feed who said, I don't think that two wrongs make a right.
Oh,
And I responded to the person, and was just trying to simply explain that it is not about two wrongs making a right. It is about leveling the field for all of Americans across this country. Because when someone decides to do something wrong, at some point you have to make a tough decision about what you do. And I do think that that basketball analogy is the best thing. You come back at halftime and someone has 10 players. Do you think that we're supposed to just do nothing? So there are times in history when we are called upon to make a really difficult decision to make greater rights. And that's what this is all about. And I do think that when people are thinking about voting something other than yes, then they should ask themselves, what are they voting for? Are you voting for equality across the country? Are you voting for the opportunity to make sure that people have elections that are, in fact, in the future fair? Are you voting for Medicare and Medicaid? Are you voting for education? Are you voting for all of the things that make our life better? And if that's what you're voting for, then you vote yes. Because when you vote something other than that, what you're saying is all of the inequality, all of the craziness that we're seeing across the country today, you are saying that that is okay. And we have to fight against that.
I wanted to say too, this, I think it's kind of like, we get caught up in this, like you said, the argument, this two wrongs don't make a right kind of thing. But I think when you say this kind of stuff, you're just not talking about the subject matter at hand. It's a way to shut things down. You got to say to people, it's wrong not to actually do something in response to somebody doing something so wrong against breaking down democracy. Just look at the conflict we're in right now in Iran and the kind of craziness coming out of this White House administration is like there's so much wrong. This is the right thing to do. And that's how I would look at it. There is so much wrong and so much at stake. And look, it's not just what he's doing wrong to go for these redistricting in every state. It's not just wrong that he's done the SAVE Act and he goes, let's steal elections and let's make a law. And I mean, he is doing so many wrongs that it's the right thing to do for us to do something. I think it actually would be immoral or egregious, whatever the word is, to us to lay down and do nothing. And I think that when you look down back in history, I'm going to be pretty proud to say that I tried to do whatever I could. And I tell you, I always go back to my Uncle Johnny, who is my great uncle who died in Normandy on the Utah beach fighting fascism. And imagine that I just sat here and said, well, oh gosh, this is something I got to like weigh about. No, we are in a crisis right now. And it's such, I mean, sometimes it's unreal. I don't know how you feel about it. Some days are just unreal to think how fucked up it is. If I could say fucked up one time today, it is bad. Sorry, it's Easter Sunday, but anyways, it is that bad. And I to sit there and have a fight about, is this right or wrong? It's right. It's the right thing to do what we can. But I will say today that early vote is rising. Could we talk about this? This competition is really on. Early vote is rising even more. And I'm wondering what you think about that. And when you look at with the numbers, I mean,
Yeah.
are you reading into
Well,
the crystal ball anyway when you see?
so no, I'm not. I do think it's right to always play like you're losing. But here's
Right,
what I will say based on what I hear from people when I am at the doors or talking to friends and family or however I get to engage with people.
right,
They are mad, and what they are really mad about are the ads that they're seeing, and, it is making them angry. When they get the postcards, they are angry, and
right,
so what I think is happening is people are now talking more openly to friends and family because when something really ticks you off, you have a tendency to bring up that conversation. When
right,
people were receiving those postcards, especially people who know better, they were really, really angry. As I was talking about Deborah's mother, she was angry about those ads. They are the most disrespectful uh, 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 to tactics that I have seen in a
Right.
really long time, and it's making people furious. And so, if I were to think about early voting and what people are seeing, they're really pissed, and those ads are doing nothing but making them angry. But I think it also is a bigger lesson about this Republican Party
Right.
who is behind these kind of ads. If you have to use these kind of tactics and strategies to get your message across, that should tell everybody all they need to know. And I think, one of the things that I've been thinking about over this weekend is just how people, can write to me or look at me and the names that they called and how rude and cruel they are and think that we're supposed to be on their side. And I do think that it is
Right.
high time that we use the opportunity to call out people for who they are. And I don't think that's shame. I think it's accountability, and people
Right.
need to be accountable. If you're gonna support detention centers, concentration camps that are feeding kids food with worms in it and old, if you're gonna support people being in places where it's cold because you wanna force them to leave, if you're gonna be in places where you're forcing people to sleep on the floor because you don't want them to come here, and you want me to think that you're a decent person, so I'm supposed to be respectful to you and give you an off-ramp, I can say for anybody else, fine, but that is not the lane that I'm riding in right now. The
No.
lane that I'm riding in right now is to tell you who you are, and you can decide if you wanna stay that person or not.
Yeah, so you told me
That's
you
the lane that's my lane.
I like that lane. I love everybody is kind of agreeing with us in here. I see Margaret's talking about I know that there was so much going on. I feel like that the President Trump is supposed to talk again, come on and do one of his press conferences. It was really bad the other night when you saw him go live and talk about I mean, in CBS, he did that press conference. Did you happen to catch it? I mean, it
I did not. I decided that I was not going to do that again.
I know it was it really is sickening when he talked about bombing in Iran people back to the dark ages and so on. And I don't know about you, but I was glad to see being Easter Sunday, Passover, with the holiest time right now, like, talk about holy times. We're rolling into it with the Pope Leo coming out. I was really glad to see the Pope talk about war. He made a really good comment today about those that have power to really how we're supposed to be able to use that power in a way that really benefits people, right? And he really called out the powerful, and how that they're abusing their power. And I think it was a pretty huge statement. I know that the prime minister of maybe Ireland said some comments about it today. I mean, America's supposed to be the most powerful country in the world. And right now we're using our power in a way that is just it's hard to fathom. When I talk about my great uncle that died for fighting in World War II, we think about that generation. What the hell are we going to be seeing like now? It really just makes me just sick to my stomach to think we are really using our power in such a bad way that it can't benefit us. I don't see do you see the benefit? Like to overuse
I
our
I I don't.
I
You know,
don't.
it's something that I've been thinking about is that, the messages have been really horrible, and
Right.
people like that. When I listen to the, Secretary of Defense, he just sounds so ridiculous,
Yeah.
and what I think is that they say all of this, and I did, pull up the transcript of what the president said,
You
and
did.
what it is a bunch of babbling gibberish, and if people start to actually read what is said, what they will find is that those bombastic statements are there to push the truth away so that you don't dig deeper. You're too busy being excited if you're one of the MAGA people or being disgusted if you're one of us, that when you actually read the statements, they say nothing. It's yes and no. It's maybe and because. It's we will or we might. And
Right.
none of it lands anywhere. It's just all gibberish. And so what I think is that it's high time uh, for what I say constantly, and we'll have to put it into action, is what Linda Hersham says about the color of abolition,
Right.
is to make injustice public, which means that it is high time that we start to call that out. Put the transcripts out, put it side by side, let people not be able to hide from the
Right.
ignorance and the cruelty that we are seeing and hearing. It is high time for us to come out in full force about what we're seeing and call people out, call the administration out, but letting the world see. And when I say the world, I mean people. I mean, whether it's Twitter or whether it's TikTok or whether it's ads or whether it's through games, it is time for us to make all of this visible so
Yeah.
that everybody can be angry and understand that this is bad, but here's what the future can be. You have to continue to tell people who the monsters are, where the monsters are, what they have in store for you, but also what we have in store for you when we eliminate them from office.
Yeah, and I think, we really do have to stop the monsters. We go back to the Yes campaign. This is just one way, one state trying to do what it can, one party to really try to fight. And I'll give the exact words because I think it was just so amazing that Pope Leo said this. He challenged global leaders to renounce domination and power, urging those with power to wage war, to urging those with the power to wage war to choose peace through dialogue. And just really about when we talk about, especially our heroes of nonviolence, like Dr. King, and you talk about Gandhi and other people, but that idea that self-giving, service, and love, and it's really difficult because that struggle right now in our country, we are sort of lost right now, and the people that elected this monster, we will have to reconcile with that. It will be part of history when we go back to Reconstruction, we go back to slavery, go back to the original sins of this country. And this is something that is going to be another thing we're going to have to tackle. But in the meantime, in the meantime, we're
In
going
the
to,
meantime,
in the meantime, like I said, it just really kind of just, it could be so absorbing because it's so overwhelming. And let's just say that when Trump said, guess what? We're gonna take more from you. He also said that we can't do childcare, Medicaid, Medicare. I mean, what does everybody think about that out there? We don't, guess what, people? We don't have money anymore for you. It was like, listen to North Korea. You're gonna get one potato. You, that's it. And that's exactly
so
telling Americans, you're gonna get one potato. Really, that's all.
so that's really and that's what I'm talking about in terms of
Right.
making sure this stuff is heard all over. So it
Yes.
was interesting enough that Marco Rubio, and I'm sure the folks here have probably
Rubio?
saw that. Marco Rubio said, what if Iran focused on taking care of its people versus building nuclear weapons? He said that.
Yeah.
And then just days later, our president says, we can't pay for Medicare. We can't pay for Social
Right.
Security. We can't pay for these childcare. We can't do that because we have to focus on wars and taking care of the people through war, which is just like completely opposite of what he ran on. Now, what we have to understand is this. Is that there are folks that are unsavable. We talked before about the woman who said all she listens to is Truth Social and that Trump is a genius. We can't help her. We
No.
we cannot help her. But what we can do is all of the folks who stayed home in the last election, they're waking up. Young people who were fooled are waking up. Folks are waking up. It was never more of them than us. They
Yes.
they were folks who were hidden in the shadows because it was shameful to be a racist. It was shameful to be a Nazi. It was shameful to sprout about how Black people or
Right.
any other race is inferior. It was shameful to do any of those things. And we allowed them to come out of the shadows because the president said that it was
Mhm.
okay. We need to send them back into the shadows where they were. It was never more of them. They are just louder and more cruel. And we have to show other people this is who you are talking to, and they're not going to win. But
Mm.
we have to stand up.
Yeah, and that's why this debate in Virginia, like when you get down to this kind of silliness on two wrongs don't make a right, it's sort of like, yeah, ignoring that many wrongs the right thing to do is to vote yes and do everything we can. So I know it is a bit overwhelming. I just wanted to ask too, just in the sense of what else is on your mind and as you're looking into this week or some things that maybe people you met this weekend, what really stuck out to you?
Well, for this week, I was really happy to take a little break after Friday, quite frankly. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for giving us a break. So that was great. But I was still feeling like I had to do more, which is why I got on the phone bank on Friday. And I was really glad I did it. But I was also happy to have Saturday a little time off without feeling guilty. And because that's what I do. I feel guilty. I feel like every minute I have to do something. Because as I will say to you, my hair is on fire.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that won't rest, or it doesn't mean that I'm a cuckoo or anything. What it means is I feel that there's an urgency in this moment, that we have only so many things that we can do.
Right.
Uh, and this is one of them. So whether you are in, New Jersey and you're trying to fill the seat of Mikey Sherrill, okay, that's going to happen. But what we need you to focus on right now, if you get on the phone with us next week and until April 21st to help us get this yes vote done, because that is what is the urgency in this moment, is
Yeah.
this.
I agree. And I saw Robin come in the room. Good to see Robin. And I am going to put the link for everybody that's in the room to join us. And I know that in the sense of wrapping up, and I feel like you did. And when I said I was furiously, Robin and I have been on the phone. I talked to Robin 3 times today because we are, I think we're possessed is the way to say it, like possessed with what we can do at hand. And I'm going to say that we've been doing this for a while now, over 10 years, and the relationships that we made has really benefited democracy right now. I mean, the amount of time and work dedicated to get to know Jess Craven, who is working over in San Francisco, and all the stuff that Jess does for democracy every day. The time it took to get to know Simon Rosenberg, who is another person fighting democracy, raising money for candidates. It'll be exciting when we talk to Michelle Hornish next week. She's going to talk more about. She couldn't come tonight. If you tuned in to see Michelle, she will be here next week. She started a new organization with a couple other folks. I think Jess Craven, Jess Piper, starting the First in Line, which will help
Right.
candidates run everywhere, right? All these things has possessed us, and all we do is look around saying, what can we do? What more can we do to just pick this up? And this week we realized with the Yes campaign, we got to get the vibe, and we got to shift the vibe right now. We have the ability in the runway. There's a lot of positive stuff happening. I can kind of feel it. We have worked on all these guests are coming, and they're so possessed too to get out there and just give us that launch. And they're going to share their audiences with us to get them to sign up. Everybody in this room, please help us share it. We need volunteers on the phone banks. We can do this. And if this thing passes, it's because of us. It's because of people in the room. If it doesn't, I'm going to feel pretty deflated. I'll be honest. And that's
Well,
why
if it doesn't, I'm gonna feel pretty deflated
I'm
too.
going to go beat
But
somebody else.
here's why I will be deflated, because I think that we should use every single opportunity to work together. I don't give a flying flip what organization you belong to. We should all be on the very same page to
Yeah.
ensure that we get the work done. I don't care how high you are in an organization. I don't care. If you don't see this as the most urgent thing that we can pull ourselves together and hold hands and work on, then you don't deserve whatever office you're in.
Yeah.
I don't hold an office. I am a nobody, but a nobody
Yes.
can be somebody if
That's
it takes
no,
us getting this work done. We have
right.
to hold hands and get it done. And I think one of the things that you can do as a nobody is speak your mind. And that's what I'm doing right now, to say, I don't care what organization you're in. I don't care how high you are up in the organization. What you should be doing is figuring out who you can hold hands with to get this work done. That's all.
I'm glad you're my friend for now.
For now,
I'm glad you're my for now. No, I love it.
I
And
am just your friend for now.
for now, not forever, but for now. So I hope forever. And I love it. I saw, and Kristen has come in the room. She's been doing such great work with Hal Donahue. I love that is uplifting our work, and I'm glad to see our friends out there. I just want to tell everybody we're heating it up. We're going to get heated up, and I hope everybody joins us on the dialer, because even if you tune in to hear the speeches, and share it. Thank you. Just thank you, because we need you to just make sure we win this. And Robin has been doing a boatload of work for this. Let me just say, so we're just been working our little hearts out. So it's
You
good.
you have. I just have to tell you this funny. I was talking to Lindley and I said, "Lindley,
Lindley,
I have to."
Lindley Thorne of Rural Ground Game.
Lindley throwing a real ground game, and I said, "Lindley, I have to tell you this. I'm afraid of Robin." And so we were dying laughing. I was like, "When she gets ready to get something done, she gets it done, and you better be afraid." So we had a good time. So Robin, we know what you're doing, and yes, and we know that this will get done. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, and the phone rings and she's on it, and her name's on it. I know we're up to 'em. It's like, I'm like, "Okay, let's go." And it's what get things we push each other, and then I get this idea, we make something, I call you, it's sorta like and then we call California, and now we have girlfriends everywhere, and I think that really it's really something to say about how we've been working together. But I'm excited, and let's just wrap up with this. I am excited this Friday, we are gonna have on 2 great on the Friday Power Lunch, we're gonna have on the Jane Pack. Jane Fonda's executive director, Sarah Palin, I think it's Pearl is gonna be on, and then we have Matt Rohrer of, By the Ballot. Matt wrote this really interesting article about the manosphere, and, it's about sweaty men and why they're having issues.
Well,
So, I
listen,
wanna get into it because I'm like, "Why? We gotta talk about the manosphere," and then I hope we may have a guest from Texas to talk about, uh, what happened in Texas and why they're gonna help us fight in Virginia, so we hope you'll tune in. Yeah. What's
cool,
that?
cool.
So, go Fennell, that's the first time I have heard you get fired up. "What?
Well,
Oh, you're not on the line enough, Margaret. You gotta stick with it." Let me tell you, I think in private, Fennell, I could tell you right now, you get fired up. You may keep your cool sometimes, but, you know, anyway, we
every
got
now and then, it's probably I'm writing an article that will post sometime tonight, and it's probably a little fiery, so that's probably where it's coming from. So, look
you
for
have
it.
fire for those little posts, and I know that you have some crab cakes waiting for you to go
I
eat with
do.
them, and I have people up there, we're eating some leftover cavatellis and lamb for Easter, so anyways, thank everybody for joining us tonight. I hope if you celebrate Easter, you had a good one, Passover, everything, and just happy spring for everybody else that's sort of have enjoying the kind of spring spring weather we've had this weekend. So it's been kind of awesome. So, and I'll be back in the pocket. I'm driving back tomorrow, so I'll see you all soon. But great, thank you for joining, and thank you, friends. Get fired up.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Tom.
A funny start, but a good ending
Yeah, I'd say so. Bye, everybody.
for now.